Black poetry is not what Shakespeare begot.
Nor is it one with Tennyson.
Its psychedelic beats have little in common with Shelley and Keats.
It has its own diameter.
Not iambic pentameter.
It has upon it
No rule of sonnet.
no straight-laced corset.
Nothing to force it.
It shrieks.
It streaks.
It melts.
It melts.
It sings.
It swings.
It cries.
It laughs.
In verses or in paragraphs.
Ossie Davis and Ruby Dee are legends of the stage and screen. Throughout their careers, which span over 6 decades, Ossie and Ruby have helped pave the way for generations of young Black actors, filmmakers, and activists. I know Ossie Davis and Ruby Dee simply as Grandpa and Gram Ruby. I've been blessed with the opportunity to examine more deeply the lives and careers of my grandparents. I didn't know if you had seen it. And with my grandmother Ruby,
No, I've never seen it.
explore the pivotal, personal, and professional choices she and Ossie made that led them to achieve success in their marriage, their careers, their contribution to the civil rights movement, and more.
This is my first interview by one of my grandchildren, and I'm nervous. Our marriage was a whole lot of learning and talking and discussion and a little fighting in there too, you know, and discovering up things about where and how we live and becoming writers together. It was the most magical experience for me in my life to be married to Ossie. I think he felt the same about me.
The hope is to, through their story, discover the secrets of divine love, romantic, professional, spiritual, familial, communal, and self-love. By telling the story of their marvelous lives,
It was the atmosphere, the horror of that time. Ossie and I were very eager to meet Dr. King.
and juxtaposing past with present.
African Americans are not past the need for leaders. And now I'm living through another period where I wake up and think about things and feel like crying.
I'll learn for myself and everyone who looks on what is essential to life
Oh my God, don't get me started.
and to love.
I mean, just talking about it makes me, you know, especially since Ossie's been gone, you know, so much more has come clear to me. I've never seen a more guileless person. He was a lot of fun. He was a dynamic speaker, well-read, but he was not at all. He wasn't a materialist in that sense. He would come down the steps, and I'd look at him because I didn't want him to go out, you know, with any old which way. And he'd just say, all right, Ruby, what's wrong? What do I gotta go change now? I think about that.
Be a part of it.
Life's Essentials.
Life's Essentials with Ruby Dee. When my grandfather died in 2005, it left me with a lot of questions about life in general. And I know they had their autobiography that came out back in 1998. I put it aside and I purposely didn't read it, thinking in my mind that, you know, I wanted something special that held my grandparents' voice in it to have on that dreaded day when, say, they weren't around anymore, you know? So I never read the autobiography. And when my grandfather passed in 2005, I started reading it and realized I made a really huge mistake, because the more I read, the more questions I had for my grandfather, and I couldn't ask those questions anymore. And the older I got, the more my questions became more significant and substantial and heavy. And I didn't want to make that same mistake with my grandmother. And a lot of people they do anything to get the chance to sit with Ruby Dee and ask her about life and get some consultation. And I'm her grandson, and I will be a fool not to go ahead and do what I'm doing now, which is learning anything and everything I can about their lives so that I can get the answers to questions that I have. Thank you for watching this video, and thank you to everyone out there who has donated to this project, donated their time, donated their money, donated their email lists and their contacts. Thank you so much for your help in making this a success, and we look forward to screening this all for Ruby D and for all of you. Thank you.
To be a part of Life's Essentials with Ruby D, simply share this video with your friends and pledge your donation today.